Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum.
Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of the Red Text Podcast. I'm your co-host, Rai, aka the Mestizo Mystic.
And my name is Voga. I am Voga Ilumisente on Instagram.
Oh, did I say I was on Instagram? Oh, well.
No, it's okay.
Oh, well, I'm on Instagram, y'all. You should know that by now.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you haven't been on Instagram lately, so how's that going so far?
Yo, it's so nice. You know, it's actually really funny. So, like, even though I set the boundary with myself that I would limit myself to an hour of social media on the weekends, I still haven't even found myself making the time to go on social media. But I watch a lot of YouTube videos, both for leisure and education. And I didn't realize YouTube had basically their own version of TikTok called like YouTube Shorts.
Yeah, shorts. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so YouTube's the only app on my phone that's like quote unquote social media. And like, even though I deleted everything else, I'll find myself like doom scrolling through YouTube Shorts for that lack of dopamine from deleting everything else. So it's like I'm trying to find a balance of like using YouTube to actually watch videos and like noticing whether or not I'm scrolling forever on the fucking shorts, which YouTube Shorts are so strange.
They are. It feels like a like a like another like the same world but another dimension. It's kind of like it's a little bit off, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like has the same vibe, but there's just something, it's just like 3 degrees off. There's something, it's not as funny, it's not as entertaining as TikTok. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
it's off-brand TikTok.
it really is. It
It's
really, really
like
is.
it's like Walmart brand TikTok. Like they have everything you love, except it's not the same.
Right. It's just, you know, there's just the extra hemline is gone, you know? It's one
I
of
love
those
it
things.
though, because the shorts that have been recommended to me and that are, I guess, I don't know if YouTube uses the same algorithm because I'm getting a lot of weird shorts, but I found like this dietitian who I really like, who really embraces like food from a holistic perspective, and I've been like gathering recipes from her, and then I've been following like other people who like cook, and then I'm getting like comedy, so it's really nice because like TikTok's algorithm's fucking insane. Like I know it listens even when the app is closed because I'll talk about something, or I used to talk about shit and open the app and then something I was talking about would
100%.
pop up as a TikTok. Like,
That
no.
happens on Instagram too. It's wild.
Oh, absolutely. And it's so scary. But yeah, it's really cool because even though I'll find myself scrolling through YouTube Shorts, it's even though I find myself scrolling through YouTube Shorts, even if it's doom scrolling, it's like cooking videos or comedy videos. So it's still like a little bit of dopamine, but at least it's less tailored than TikTok, which like I feel like was perpetuating so much just shit that I didn't need that I'm glad I deleted TikTok for. But
Mm.
overall, my social media hiatus has been going fantastically. I've been replacing a lot of that time spent doom scrolling on those other apps with like reading for leisure, which is really nice because normally I'm so caught up with reading for school I don't have time for leisurely reading. Whereas now like I do because I've replaced that social media time with other things. Um, and yeah, it's just been really nice to be more present. Like I'm slowly reintegrating getting back into a routine meditation practice, which is something that I used to have and is really important to me, and it's been nice to really begin to re-engage with that. um, but overall, well, these last couple of days, this last week has been fucking rough for me and certain loved ones, but uh, other than all that's transpired in the last like 5-6 days, I don't have too much to complain about. But how are you?
I know, I heard you told me about what happened, and that when you told me, I felt so awful. So I know, I understand why you were so upset, because that's not nice. But
Thank
anyways,
you.
I've been doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's been one of those weeks where it's just fine. And it's nothing that has to do with like my personal life. It has to do with work. I'm having some, well, I did. It's more or less solved now, but I was having some things with my boss that I was kind of, I was just dealing with. It's just one of those things. It had to do with pay. And
That's never an easy conversation.
it's never an easy conversation to whoever I'm talking to. It's a very easy conversation for me because I don't care. I don't ever feel comfortable about asking for more money. But
As you should, or as you shouldn't feel uncomfortable.
yeah, because it's like listen, I work in healthcare, so the bureaucracy of where money goes and where money stays is insane. And how money is distributed, it's absolute. Everyone is underpaid. I mean, I compared to, I'm very 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 comfortable. Not very comfortable. I'm very blessed. Um, I'm not wealthy by any means, but you know, I have a degree and I make a good living. But even with that, we are severely underpaid because of what happened in the pandemic. Nothing really kept up with, you know, the economy. So I was going through some things. I went all the way up to my administrator. Like, I've been talking to a lot of people in regards to my pay, but that situation has been put on the back burner for now. So I feel okay. I've been doing a lot of work, not necessarily magical work, but a lot of work for the podcast and social media and stuff. I um I don't know, there's something in me within the last week that's been really inspired to just keep myself really busy. Like right now, like yesterday I was like editing like 4 videos. Uh, no, 3 videos. Two of them were for us, and then one was for somebody else. Because I might potentially be an editor for another content creator, and I don't want to say who it is yet because it hasn't happened yet. They like sent me like a they sent me like a mock like video, and like, here, edit this. And
How exciting. I'm
yeah,
so
and I
happy.
was
Well, I am happy for you regardless of the outcome, and I'm proud of you.
so yeah, I've been like really trying to like get into the groove of like getting a lot of work and like doing a lot of stuff and like being creative. And like for some reason, like now, like I have my work and like creative juices are really really, I don't know, gushing, flowing,
Leaking.
cunting, you know. And then me and Francisco are supposed to be meeting this weekend talking about our collaboration for Blasphemy. So like I'm like, I have all of these hats on right now, and it feels really good because like I'm getting a lot like I feel really really productive. You know, I'm getting a lot of stuff done. Like tonight I'm uploading the next episode that is supposed to be published, which would have been, yeah, it would have been published by now, which is Adrian's episode, the Satanism episode. And I literally just did it, and then tonight I'm planning on literally uploading or downloading this episode and editing it tonight before I go to bed, just so I get it done. So I'm like getting into like a schedule, you know what I mean? I'm trying to fill my day with stuff that makes me feel really productive. The only thing is that I'm a little bit too productive, and I'm not leaving room for anything else. So I'm not leaving room to sit at my altar. I'm not leaving room to read a book. Like the book that you just mentioned in the bonus episode that you just released, it's been sitting on my desk for the last 2 days, and I still haven't even picked up I haven't read the first page because I just haven't had time.
Right.
You know, so I need to find a balance. But I feel really good in that aspect. My work life is different. Like, it's just, I don't like to carry that with me when I leave. You know, it's like it's like totally separate part
Of course.
But I am really excited about what we're going to talk about today because a big part of why I'm so busy now is because of this podcast. And a big part of what this podcast is rooted in one of our first episodes from our first season, which was actually technically our second episode, but it's like labeled as bonus episode.
Right.
and it's Marian Devotion, which we had originally. We had three hosts, which was me, you, and Burgundy, and we had a guest, our friend Ramona, who was on. We're just talking about Marian Devotion, and Rye, you and I spoke about like possibly taking topics and episodes that we talked about in past season and revisiting them and see how
Yeah,
they've changed and how maybe our opinions have changed, maybe our practices have changed. Because in regards to
experiences.
exactly, especially within Marian Devotion, and how I see Mary and how I work with Mary is very different from how I used to when I worked with Mary last year. Like it's a
Hmm.
totally different monster. So so yeah, I'm really, really excited for this topic.
I'm really excited too. And yeah, I'm really excited for this new series of revisiting prior topics in older episodes and old episodes. Like, we started this podcast not as experts or authorities, but rather two people, two friends, two practitioners that wanted to share our journey as it unfolds. And of course, with any journey, there's going to be transitions and changes and transformations. And as you just mentioned, Voga, our relationships and experiences and magical practices with Mary have evolved since we
Hmm.
aired that initial episode with Burgundy and Ramona. And I'm also excited for it to just be the two of us. Of course, I wish Ramona and Burgundy could be here with us, but I feel that just the you and I discussing this will allow much more room for elaborating on all that we have to share, on reflecting and revisiting the topic of Marian devotion, which I'm just so excited for this series in general, because not only does it give us more excuses to get together and talk, but I think I've mentioned to you how I speak the way my mind works, which is very fast, and that oftentimes leads to me not being able to really process what's going on in my mind because I need to hear myself talking about it out loud, which is usually either to you, a friend, or more often than not, my therapist. And so, all
Mm-hmm.
that to say, with this revisitation series, it's going to be so much fun for me and for us to really talk about these things, and for me to reprocess and to reflect on how these things that we're going to talk about have evolved.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I think that I think what I'm really relieved with, or something that I'm really relieved happened, is that my practice has changed so much. I'm so happy that I did see a shift. I'm so happy that I did see some sort of change in how I practice and how I see Mary, how I pray to her, and how I address her. It's changed so much since the last time we spoke about this. Because when we first talked about that, when that episode was first released, um, Marian Devotion was very new to me. And when I say very new, I mean less than a year, maybe like 4, 5, 6 months. So it was very, very new. Um, and now it's not as new. I don't think that I in any way do I feel like I'm an expert in any way. Like a year and a half of Marian Devotion is not nearly as much as a lot of people, especially folks who grew up Catholic. Um, so what I'm really happy is that I did something right, because my practice has shifted so much since the last time we spoke about this.
Yeah, I feel very much the same. And we'll get more into it as we talk about it. But I just resonate and share a lot of the sentiment of what eh, I resonate with and share a lot of the sentiment with what you just shared regarding just how the relationship with her has changed, or at least grown and developed, not necessarily changed, but definitely grown. And the ways in which I work with Mary, or even just devotion. Like, if I'm being real with myself, like a lot of my work with Mary is just that devotion. And I oftentimes really pray the rosary and dedicate it to her when I'm asking for her intercession for like an emergency. Like, I don't like to go to Mary for like very menial things. Is that the word?
Mm,
Menial? Like small?
menial. I want to say that's a word.
I'm gonna pretend that's a
We're
word
gonna
right
pretend
now.
it's a word. Yeah.
um yeah, because you run to your mama when you need help with something, but uh, it's just like her power is so vast and grand and magnificent that it almost feels not annoying, but if I'm gonna turn to someone who I know whose power is so great, I'm gonna make sure that I'm like saving those asks for something important.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the past, since I do still see her as a mother, but in the past where it was really just seeing her as a mother I could turn to for anything, and she has stated when she promised the rosary within her, I think 15 promises of the rosary, that anything you ask will be granted by her, and I do still feel that you can work with her in that way. Like I wanted to spend so much more time just devoting myself to her so that I knew that she would be there for me in my deep dark times of need, whether I was praying on behalf of someone else for their intercession. I'm sorry, whether I was praying for her intercession on behalf of someone else or for myself. And for me, again, for me, maybe you listeners feel more comfortable going to her with every need that you have, and I totally validate that. That's completely valid. But for me, I find so much more comfort in just surrendering to her love, and also working with her more so as a model of compassion and self-empowerment, and turning to her for me in times of emergencies versus little needs. Because for me, I've learned in the last year that I have saints that are in my spiritual court that I can then turn to for those more mundane needs, or more what may be constituted as smaller needs. And I'm curious how any of this resonates or doesn't resonate with you, Voga.
A lot of it does kind of connect with me, because it's like the aspects of Mary that I work with, that I kind of focused on and really honed into, have really shifted my perspective on who she was. Because when I first started working with just your basic devotional work, just praying every single day as much as I possibly could, it was a very motherly energy. It still is. It's still very caring. It's still very motherly. But through a lot of exploration, through a lot of work, through a lot of devotional work, through a lot of conversations, through a lot of communion, I realized that Mary was so much more than just like someone that you go to for help. She actually just kind of helps you without you asking for her help in the first place. You don't actually need to ask for help at all. Like she, for some reason, already knows what the hell you need. She is a fierce protector. Obviously, that's something that's one of the biggest aspects in regards to Mary that I carry with me. But the thing that I have really held onto and I really carry with me when it comes to an aspect of Mary is the vengeful Mary, the sad Mary, the angry Mary, right? The dark side of Mary, the Mary that has been hurt, is a woman of her time, someone who has suffered, someone who has seen the ones that she loves die. I really, really I've dove really deep into that side of who Mary is, because that side of Mary is kind of ignored. I know people know it exists, but it's not necessarily something that people really like to, kind of bring into their lives so often. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's only when they need it, right? Like Our Lady of Sorrows is only asked to intervene when you are also sorrowful, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are times where I need that dark aspect of Mary, that very extremely powerful, divine, feminine, dark energy that works really well with my magic. It works really, really well with my financial work, my financial magic, my money magic. It works really, really well with my curse work. Sometimes it depends on what I'm asking, or what I'm getting done, or what I'm doing. So aspects of Mary has really shifted for me. And then on the other side of that, on the other side of the coin, the lighter side of Mary, the brighter side of Mary, the glory of Mary, for me, is someone that I've really the aspect of Mary that I've really latched myself onto is the miraculous medal. The miraculous medal is very important to me. And I've told this story a million times.
One of my favorites to hear.
Yeah, why the miraculous medal is so important to me. is because the Miraculous Medal is how she showed herself to me for the first time. Even though that I feel like she's shown herself to me through my family members, like through my mom and through my grandmother. It was a lot more subtle. It was much more like, hey, just let you know, I'm still paying attention to you, until like I actually started working with her or asking her to like intervene.
Totally.
That's where she was just like, all right, this is what I was waiting for, right? So the Miraculous Medal is what I use for, I use those things to imbue blessings onto myself. It's a very, very important amulet to me. I wear it as an earring every single day. I never take it off. Yeah, that aspect is absolutely stunning to me. And I use those two as kind of like, two sides of the same coin. Mother Mary is the Our Lady of Sorrows, and Mother Mary is the Miraculous Medal. Those are the two aspects of Mary. That's the duality that I work with. That is a very extreme duality, right?
It's a continuum. I wouldn't even say, I mean, yes, duality, that's valid as well, but like it's same. I don't like using entity when referring to Mary, but same spirit, same figure who works on a continuum. It's just a matter of what continuum are you looking to work at. Because I guess I'm struggling with accepting labeling it as duality, because it's not just light or dark. She's everything in between. And as you were speaking, I was kind of giggling because I don't know if it's Mary or just the fucking queer inside of me. I want to use the word that's an alternative to cigarette, but I don't want our podcast to get banned. So I'm just gonna say queer. But the song "I'm Every Woman" by Shaka Khan, and if none of y'all have ever heard this song before,
Are you trying to say fag?
yeah,
We can say fag on here.
can we? Okay,
Yeah.
the fag in me, because I don't like gay, but the fag in me is jumping out. She's here, she's present.
I guess I can't believe you're apprehensive to say. I was like, what
I
are
don't
you
know.
talking
I don't
about?
know. I felt resistance. I feel resistant. Anyways, listen. Everyone, listen to these lyrics of "I'm Every Woman." I'm not gonna try it. I'm every woman. It's all in me. I can read your
Everything you
thoughts
want,
right
on, baby.
now.
Oh, we're on different
Yeah.
verses.
Oh, yeah. Anything you want, them, baby.
I'll
I do
do
it
naturally.
naturally. Like, come on. That is Mary speaking in that song. Are you fucking kidding me? And how you were saying how Mary can kind of just read what we're thinking or feeling or what's in our hearts. The lyric where it's like, I can read your thoughts right now, everyone from A to Z. I can cast a spell of secrets you can tell. Like,
It's a
da da
good
da
point. I
da.
never
Like,
actually really thought about it that way. I want to listen to that. I'm never going to hear it the same. I actually prefer. I love Shaka Khan, but I actually prefer Whitney's version more.
is that the original?
Shaka Khan is original.
Oh, Shaka Khan, but Whitney Houston's is a cover?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because when I was Googling it, Whitney was coming up first, and I thought it was Shaka Khan who's original, but it is. Anyways, I digress.
Yeah, Shaka Khan is definitely the original. I think for sure. It's definitely because Whitney does a shout out to Shaka Khan in her version of it. So
Okay,
Shaka Khan is definitely.
but if none of y'all have ever heard "I'm Every Woman," go listen to it.
Also, how did you do that? How did you go your entire life without ever hearing that song? It's iconic. Get on it. Grow up. But yes, it is a wonderful. I never really thought about that. That's really interesting. That'd be a really interesting conversation actually, to see what songs you can kind of see Mary in, like woman empowerment. I don't know about you, but how many Beyonce songs do you find Mary in? Probably every single fucking one.
I've never even tried to reflect on that.
Halo? No, I'm just kidding.
Lemonade. Ooh, I'm gonna re-listen to Lemonade tonight, specifically thinking of how Mary shows up in each song, or could be seen showing up in each song.
Blow. Can you imagine how does Blow is like one of my favorite Beyonce songs ever.
Is that off Lemonade?
No, it's off Beyonce.
You know, I haven't listened to her self-titled album. Y'all are gonna want to like kill me, but it was Lemonade that got me actually into Beyonce. I was a very late Beyonce stan.
Oh my god! Really?
know.
You don't even like B-Day?
Is that an album?
Yeah, it's the first one.
Oh, see, I've only up until Lemonade, I only ever heard like hit singles that were either popular on the radio or things like that. So it was really Lemonade was the first album from Beyonce that I ever sat down and listened to and like
Oh my god!
realized how much I enjoy her.
You're a bad fag.
No, because Lady Gaga was who I stand from like 10 years old up until today.
Gaga came out when you were 10 years old?
I think. Maybe like I think she started to blow up when I was maybe like 11 or 12.
I'm throwing myself out the window.
Oh, did that just age you to hear?
Yeah, because she came out in like high school for me, like senior year, I think. She was like, that's when Just Dance came on, like 2007, 2008, something like that.
Oh, I always forget how much older you are than me.
Now I need to make sure that B-Day was actually the first. Oh no, It's Dangerously in Love was the first one, dumbass. B-Day was the second one.
It's funny, I don't know if it's like channeling Mary right now or if I'm just highly caffeinated. But
It's
like
probably both.
a little bit of both. Just reflecting on these really powerful feminine figures in the music industry and their music as well. And like,
Yeah.
as we're talking about Mary, I'm kind of just interjecting or projecting her into these songs and music by these artists, and also seeing how these different women also embody like this continuum of Mary that we're talking about. Like I guess Mary never really was Mary Magdalene, I think, could resonate a lot more with Lady Gaga, whereas I think Beyonce could definitely bring out a lot of Marian energy as well. But
Well, I don't think that was necessarily on purpose. I think that's just a synchronicity that we just experienced, just being part of this world.
mhm.
I don't think that they went out of their way. Obviously, they're not going out of their way to. I don't necessarily think their albums are devoted to Mary in any way. Obviously, that'd be ridiculous. But I think it's a really interesting thing to associate music like that with a certain, because there are hundreds of aspects of Mary that you can use, so if maybe you can like attach a song that you really really like that represents something really important to you to an aspect of Mary. Why not? Why fucking not?
Why the fuck not?
I
Music
use
is an
Beyonce songs.
invocation.
I use Beyonce songs all the time for my sex work, for
As
my
you
sex
should.
magic. Yeah, it's like my sex magic is,
Surfboard.
yeah, it's like it just makes sense, you know what I mean? So the whole idea of a powerful woman, yes, it's rooted in a lot of things. It's not just rooted in Christianity. It's rooted in many different faiths and many different religions. So yeah, synchronicities will always happen, especially with these people, especially us as being queer people, who gravitate towards these artists. We're going to
Mhm.
see those things as something that that is one to be admired. But yeah, the synchronicities between music and aspects of Mary is a very interesting conversation. I like that conversation a lot.
100%. And just see how like naturally it just came out. Like again, part because I'm caffeinated and part like I was feeling like really pulled to just bring that up and make that comparison. Especially with the I'm Every Woman. Like that just it wouldn't stop playing in my head as you were talking about all the different aspects of Mary. But going off on a tangent from music, Voga, I would love to hear one or several ways in which your relationship, devotion, magic, either one or all of those three have shifted, transformed, and or changed with Mary in your practice from the last episode up until now. Like what's one of the most salient and prevalent ways that has happened?
Oh, salient. That's a good word. I haven't used that word in a very long time.
We use it a lot at school and it's become like a new part of my regular vernacular.
Salient. It's a very very good word. So what is okay of the highest importance? I think when it comes to my devotion and the way I work with Mary is I'm just so much braver. Like I'm so much more
Mm,
unapologetic from the person that I was then and the person that I am now. I'm just so much more courageous in what I do. I give myself so much more grace in all aspects of my life, in the way I dress, the way I look, the way I, okay, so I'm going to go a little bit into
snaps all around.
my personal transformation within the last year, cuz my faith and my craft was a very heavily influenced by just by the way that I look in front of you right now. Okay, if you go back to when we first started this, I was very I was about to say I was very cis het presenting.
Oh,
Who the
ew.
fuck was I talking? Who the fuck do I think I am? No, I was not. But I was very like boy, um
Mm-hmm.
I was very boy. I was very queer. But I wasn't cunt, Um,
Kunt. That's like K and like U with a
und,
umlaut.
it's
Yeah,
umlaut. Yeah,
Kunt.
it has a, yeah, exactly. It's kunt. Um, so I wasn't kunt. I was still queer. I was still very well. I wasn't queer at the time because that transition happened for me too within the last
You were just a
couple of
little gay
years.
boy.
I was a little gay boy. Um, And I think with really navigating those liminal spaces constantly all the time, and like putting myself and choosing to be in those liminal spaces, I gained a lot of freedom in those spaces. I gained a lot of grace. I gave myself so much more than I ever thought that I deserved. And I started to realize it's like you can do so much more for yourself. Like a lot of the things that don't give you confidence, you have control over. This is just me personally, okay? I'm not speaking for everybody. A lot of the things that never gave me confidence, I just didn't have confidence because I just didn't do anything about it. I just kind of sat on my ass, or sat on my hands, and just didn't do anything about it. I was like, you can go out every single day, or not every single day. I don't look like this at work, but like you can look like this anytime you goddamn want, and just do it and see how you feel. And gradually, I shifted into this identity. I shifted into this person that you see in front of you, who wants to show up a certain way. And the reason why is because I showed up honestly to my altar, and I also wanted to show up as my true authentic self as much as I possibly could, because for a very long time I had to apologize for it. I had to put that somewhere else. I had to keep it in the closet. I had to keep it under the bed. No one has to see it,
Like compartmentalizing it.
Mm-hmm. And now I'm at a point where I look like this. I look like Voga, even with the people who call me Fonzie. I do this. I glam
Fuck
up.
yeah.
I wear the wigs. I wear the skirts. I wear the flared pants. I wear the heels. I incorporate everything that I am now into everything that I choose it should be. You know what I mean? I'm not scared anymore. I've just given myself so much more freedom and so much more courage just from the way that I've worked with Mary. Mary has given me a lot of courage and freedom and an immense amount of grace. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I feel so much warmth in my heart right now, and just like snapping my fingers in agreement and heavily resonating with what you're sharing. And I'm so privileged and honored to not only have this platform with you and to co-create with you, but to bear witness to the ways in which both of us are evolving, but to be so honored to see you evolve in the way that you are and continue to do so, because I don't get to see you every day. You're in LA and I'm in San Francisco, so we only really get to kiki if we FaceTime or are creating for the podcast. And it's just it's so beautiful to get to be bearing witness to that, since I don't get to be with you 24/7. Although I think we'd get tired of each other very, very quickly if we were around each other 24/7. So maybe that's a good thing.
Well, you'd be fine, because I don't deal with anyone 24/7. Like I'm not one of those people. Like my time by myself is very valuable to me. So you'll be fine. If you ever end up moving to LA, we'll be fine. Nothing's going to. I'm probably like, Rye, you and I are not hanging out for like a week because I'm just sick. And
I would respect that. I mean, and I would feel the same way.
Yeah.
I would hope that would be respected and reciprocated if it was the opposite way.
Yeah.
So,
but I want to echo exactly what the fuck you said, because I feel the exact same way about myself. I'm just kidding. I feel the same way about you.
You conceited cunt.
The transformation. I mean, the work that you have done within the last year and a half that we've. Has it been a year and a half? Yeah, year and a half, whatever.
Jesus Christ.
Year and a half of us doing this podcast, especially with your devotional work, you going through your consecration, you becoming an ordained minister. There's all of these things that you have done to grow in your practice with the hardships that you've dealt with this last year. Your devotional work, obviously, it feeds into that, and it feeds into each other. So that's what I'm saying. It's like the growth that we both experienced, the growth that we both endured was not an accident. It was because of what we did. We did the fucking work, and a big part of it was because Mary was there. She gave me the permission to do it. She gave me the permission to show up the way I wanted to. And she gave us the permission to be on this platform to say whatever the fuck we wanted. We gave ourselves this. That's why I'm saying, like, say fag all you want. This is ours. we get to say what we want here because it's ours. We owned it, and the reason why we do it is because of her. I mean, it's not the only reason why we do it. It's because she's a big component of what we do. It's probably the biggest part of my practice.
Yeah.
So it's not something that's easily ignored. But yeah, the growth that we've had, that's probably the thing that I see with the devotional work that I've been working on, or I've worked on within the last year. It's the shift. I think we've both become much more well versed. We've become much more articulate. The amount of knowledge that we've gained just from having the platform and within our devotional work and also within our craft has manifested into what we're doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that was coming to the forefront of my mind as you were sharing that is thinking about the community that we've simultaneously become a part of, as well as have co-created for ourselves, and that other people are becoming a part of, which is our intention. And it makes me so happy to see people engaging with us in the podcast and the platform, be it on Instagram or those who contribute funds through Patreon, which we are very, very so appreciative of. But the book you were mentioning earlier in the episode, for all y'all who aren't Patreons, I have started reading and engaging with this book called Queer's the Word, which is a 40-day devotional for LGBTQ plus Christians, which engages with viewing the Bible and scripture through a queer lens, both queer in terms of gender identity and sexual identity, and a trans lens and all that good stuff. And I think right now I'm on day 4 or 5, even though I haven't been keeping up with it every single day consecutively. Like, I pick up where I left off. But on one of the days that I previously was going through, it was talking about how God is community. And, again, God has no gender. I love to say God is trans, because God, even if you look at the fucking catechism of the Catholic Church, even though it says that we refer to God as Father or as He, that God innately has no gender. So God is trans, y'all. I believe Jesus was trans and is trans. But aside from all that, connecting through Mary to the Rosary, and I remember years ago praying and doing sigil magic when I used to be heavy on sigils, which I still am today, just not as much as the past, of doing workings to attract like-minded and diverse spiritual practitioners as friends and chosen family. And here you and I are, Voga, face to face on camera, yet we've with intention built this community that continues to foster and grow. And I just want to shout out everyone who has shouted us out and has hosted us as guests on other platforms, like Frankie,
Olivia.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. What's Frankie's handle?
Chaotic Witch Hunt?
Yeah, thank you, Frankie, Chaotic Witch Hunt, or Olivia, the Witch of Wanderlust, Marshall and Austin, Banix Bramble, and the what's Marshall's handle?
Witch of Southern Light.
Witch of Southern Light. Like, everyone, especially those of y'all, and really all those that I just mentioned, who have crazy giant platforms, like, y'all are helping us expand our community and create and foster community and attract those who need our show and need our content. Not, again, that we are teachers or masters or experts in any way, shape, or form, but we are creating what we felt lacking in the folk Catholic, folk Christian community. And not even just folk Christians and folk Catholics, in the Catholic and Christian community, because community is God, and we are fostering community and empowerment. And
Amen.
and to reflect
exactly
on how
right.
Thank you. And to reflect on how Mary ties into that. Mary, to me, and for billions of Catholics and Christians worldwide, is the epitome of compassion and love. And love is where God is found. Where there is love, there is God, and vice versa. And without a loving community, which contains diversity and conflicting opinions, don't let community fool you into thinking that everyone must be like-minded and share the same opinion, because that is wrong. That's fostering God and finding God within us through finding God in others, and fostering that. And it's just so fucking beautiful. And I'm just so happy to be a part of it all. As someone who grew up never feeling like I belonged, or becoming parts of different groups of friends or clubs, but ending up always being or feeling exiled or not chosen, like, it is incredible to be able to feel and know that I got to co-create and continue to foster this community with you, Voga. And it's because of Mary. Like when I began praying the rosary after reading Way of the Rose, which is all about finding the divine feminine, however that fits for you, but for me it ended up being Mary and La Santa Muerte. Like Mary has just been such a model for me of how to be compassionate and loving, even in times when you're going through emotions such as or I guess depression is more of a state than an emotion, but going through flows like depression and anxiety, or even emotions like anger and rage, and using that to motivate you to, or motivate me at least, to be more loving and compassionate in ways that still honor your sacred rage, which I love that term. I claim it because I don't know anyone else that has created that term. My therapist told me I should copyright it, which I probably
Yeah, I
should.
love that.
But rage is sacred, rage is holy. That's something I shared with my cohort this weekend in one of my classes, because we were discussing matters that was bringing up rage within us. And I fully acknowledge and honor rage as a sacred and holy emotion. But where I was going with that was that Mary also models to me what love looks like, because you can be rageful but
Right.
still be loving. Like I can still hold my peace if someone says some bullshit to me, but I can also still say fuck you and walk away without letting whatever they did or say linger within me. And that to me is love. Loving myself through standing up for myself, as well as loving myself by not carrying that interaction with me afterwards. And that's where I find rage and anger to be holy. And I all that to say, Mary taught me that.
Absolutely. Yeah, everything that you said was fucking spot on. Also, I just want to kind of piggyback what you said in regards to community, and also bring in what I said about how Mary has brought me courage, or has granted me courage, or has taught me how to be more courageous and brave. The reason why that happened is because Mary brought me my friends. My friends taught me how to be brave. Or it's only because like I feel safe around my friends. Mary brought me friends that I feel safe around. So I get to be brave. I get to be brave because I know that I'm not going to be judged for being who I am. And that was through a lot of work went into the relationships I have. It's something that I say all the time. Every relationship that you have is cultivated. It's most of the relationships that you have are usually not accidents. They happen for a reason. The reason why is because you did the work to have that relationship.
Yes.
So she was the initiate. She was the one who brought me those people who was like, here, this is who you need right now. She's given me a safe place to be me, and it's because of the community that we've like what you said, the community that we have fostered, and the community that we have cultivated here is my favorite part of why we do this. It's you guys, our audience. The reason why we sit down, Ryan and I sit down every week to talk about things, is so that we can share what we do and what we experience with you. The reason why the podcast exists is because of our audience, and we're very grateful for that. And I also am very, very a firm believer that Mary brought you guys to us, because this could have failed. This podcast could have been an immense failure, but it wasn't. It was a substantial. It is now a substantial part of my life. It is, and it is wildly successful in my eyes. Like there are definitely bigger podcasts than us, but the success that the podcast has been able to experience, it wasn't an accident.
It wasn't like, this has probably been the biggest synchronicity, this and starting training as a therapist, because that has led to a lot of my growth, which I also attribute to Mary for leading me to school here, or where I'm going, I mean. But like this is what a miracle is to me. It's not just the parting of the Red Sea, or like the like Jesus turning what was it, water into wine. Not me almost forgetting one of the most common miracles known in the Bible. But miracles like this of us all coming together and finding each other and being able to foster that love and community, to me, which is God. And I remember there was a moment this last weekend, I was just in school, where we're in these different 3 sections of a class that are all focusing on group dynamics. And particularly what is going on in my group is really, really emotionally and challenging, heavy content. And at one point, one of my peers suggested that we hug one another. And I remember, I will never forget this. We were hugging. I was actually hugging my peer who recommended that we get up and hug one another. And as we were hugging and in that loving embrace, I heard, which not just in my head, but like literally felt and heard within my heart, which was strange, just the words, "Christ is here." And that's just been echoing ever since that happened, because as I was exchanging hugs with other peers, like it was just reverberating that Christ is here.
Oh,
Christ
wow.
is here. Like that community that I'm fostering at school with these other therapists in training who I consider and feel are both classmates and friends and family. Shout out to all y'all. I just recently shared this podcast in my huge WhatsApp group that
Oh
contains
yeah.
everyone
Hi
at
everybody.
school. Voga says
My name
hi.
is Voga. Hi, Rise classmates. How you doing?
And so shout out to all of y'all, because Mary led me to y'all and y'all have helped me evolve and transform so fucking much. Every fucking school weekend, I just see myself shifting and shifting and growing and growing. But just all that to say, that experience of when we were exchanging hugs and I heard in my heart and head, and I knew it wasn't me, like with those thoughts, it was coming from somewhere divine. Just
Oh.
those words, oh, Christ is coming. Oh God, I haven't shared that part of myself with my classmates yet, so that's gonna be fun.
Mm.
But yeah, Christ is here, and I feel that every time we talk and interact, Voga, that Christ is here, and oh God, Mary's just so fucking powerful and amazing.
I think a lot of things are here. When we sit and talk, there's a lot of things going on at the same time.
Yeah, mania definitely.
For sure. Queer mania is a given. But at the same time, it's like there like I said, like I keep saying, none of this was an accident. We When we sit together, we do create we create a sacred space. I mean, we are over 300 miles away from each other, but we do create, when we come together onto this online space, we create an altar, and we we create this devotional space for us, right, and for the community. um and so, those currents are always constantly working, and I think that's the reason why so many people are finding us so enlightening, is because we have such a heavy, everything is so heavily weighted on Mary. Everything is rooted in Mary and the way that she experienced life and how she helps us experience life, right? We The person that Mary is transcends all of this, right? But it also infuses all of her magic, all of her power is kind of, it leaves like a I was gonna say residue, but that's not the right word. It leaves a trace, it leaves magic behind. And I think that's what we're experiencing is, with the ebbs and flows of the magic that the magic that you and I perform are definitely very different, right? But they all come together, right? They all come together in
Mm-hmm.
some really harmonious, synchronized way, and it just fucking works. It just fucking works, and that's the reason why I have such a limitless reverence for Mary.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this podcast, I remember Ryan and I attempting to actually do a consecration to Mary through Jesus. Like, they recommended a book to me. I bought it. I never ended up doing it because
That's right.
I don't even remember why. I don't remember why I didn't do it, but there could have been a million reasons why. I could have been betrayed at the time. I don't know. But Rye ended up doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
something that I really wanted to incorporate into this, and this is something that I actually haven't told you yet, and I was actually going to tell you in the post show, but now I'm going to say it now because I brought it up.
Ooh, spicy.
We have 39 days from where the day of this recording is. We have 39 days until Easter. Okay, we're in the middle of Lent right now. We have 39 days till Easter, and which is really interesting because you're doing a 40-day. You released that episode today, and there are 39 days left. So your last
Oh,
episode will
wow.
actually land either the day of Easter or the day after.
That was
If
not
you,
my intention, but that's a beautiful little synchronicity.
yeah, I did the I was like, wait,
Oh,
because
not you doing math.
mm-hmm, I counted backwards. It's crazy from 40.
Oh my God, the
Um,
growth.
I didn't even count. I looked it up. I just how many days till Easter and it
Oh.
comes up perfect.
Man, I was giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Don't do that. Why would you do that? So there's something that I actually wanted to do that was devoted to it's my own little consecration that I want to do for Mary for Easter. Whoops.
Is your vibrator going off?
Yeah, it shoots off sometimes. It's like my own little Marian consecration that I'm going to do for Easter that I'm going to perform myself within the next 39 days. And on Easter, I'm going to follow your example, and I'm going to apply to become an ordained minister.
Oh my gosh.
Because on Easter, I actually want to become a minister, so I can perform. I want to perform death rites.
Hell yeah.
But because I have such a heavy devotional, or I have such a heavy devotion to Our Lady of Sorrows. Easter is like one of that's like my holiday. that's like Our Lady of Sorrows time to shine. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I wanted to integrate like this part of my growth in my practice to actually start providing not just magical services to people, but religious services to people.
Fuck yeah.
Excuse me. So that's the next step in my practice, is becoming ordained. But a really big part of it is because I want to perform those death rites. That sounds very strange, but being able to do that sounds so to be part of that transition is something that is so up my alley.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
And there's a lot of things up her alley, y'all.
I know. Have you ever thrown a toothpick into a volcano? It's like that. So I'm just kidding. I'm not a bottom. I don't even know what that feels like. You're talking to the wrong faggot. I'm not Francisco.
Strict
Anyways.
top here. I said just a strict top here.
No one's putting anything in me. Anyways, so that's kind of like where I feel like she's guiding me now. Is I am in a constant like state of growth. Like I never stop. Like I can't like it's always growing. And it never ends. Like it never fucking ends. Like I always feel like I have to be changing and shifting all the time. Now that I've like experienced the growth and the change that I've experienced now,
Oh yeah.
I just want it to keep going. Like I don't want to stop. Like I want to find my final form, which I know will never happen, but I want to constantly find that person, you know?
I love that you shared that because I feel the same way, like both spiritually and like as I'm experiencing through grad school and training as a therapist, like emotionally and psychologically. Like anytime I notice stagnation starting to happen now, I'm irritated.
I lose my mind.
I lose my mind. And then, I mean, for me, it's like I dive into that. I'm like, what is this irritation or anger or whatever this emotion's happening? What is it trying to tell me? Where is it trying to lead me? And then, but with stagnation in particular, I'm like, okay, if I'm feeling like bored or stuck, I know there's something that needs to be done because it's not going to stay this way. And it can't stay this way because I refuse to remain stagnant. Unless it's like taking a pause to rest and recuperate and rejuvenate, I refuse to remain stagnant. Like, that was how you phrased it was beautiful, Voga. Like just that need and desire to continue growing and growing and growing until we reach that. To me, the final form is death, because we won't know what our final form after death is until it happens. It may be being born into another life. It may be reunification with the divine. Who fucking knows? But growing as much as humanly and spiritually possible, given the lifetime and amount of time on this planet that we are born into.
I'm just done sitting on my hands. Like I'm just finished staying put, waiting for things to happen.
Yeah.
Like I'm done with it.
Yeah.
Like nothing ever happened to me whenever I stood still, waited for things to happen. But when I started actually doing something, shit fucking happened. You know, this is the hardest I've ever worked. This is the happiest I've ever been.
Right. Right.
So that is proof that, you know, what I'm doing is right. You know, what I'm doing is correct.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if y'all haven't listened to when we were on Southern Bramble, I implore you to do so, because that was a wonderful conversation. There was a point where Austin asked us, like, why do it? You know, why do you do this if like, there are so many aspects of Christianity that are so damaging? Why do you do it? And I said, I don't feel like I have a choice. And they also asked us, like, I forgot how they phrased it, but it was like, how do you know, or something along the lines of, like, no, it was still the same question, like, why do you do it? The reason why I do it is because it works. You know, I continue to do it because it works. Everything
Mm-hmm.
that I do works. Well, not everything. Like, there, you know, obviously, there are parts where, you know, I have to work on. But in, you know, the big picture, everything works. Like, the things that I'm doing, like, I'm not feeling enlightened, and I'm not feeling happy, and I'm not feeling complete and safe because I'm doing something wrong. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. And there's no way of me to prove that. It's just, the only way I know things are working is because I'm happy. You know, I'm
Mm.
living a really good life right now. I'm surrounded by so many people that really care about me. I've always been surrounded by people that care about me, but, like, now my chosen family is so much more diverse, you know? So yeah, it's like, if you don't feel that way, you need to keep looking, you know. And even when you start feeling that way, you don't stop looking. There's so much more for you to find. And a really good way to help find that is through Mary, because she's the one who helped me find it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I one last thing I want to share, because I know we're coming up on an hour here. Um, One thing I want to share was a theological viewpoint for me that has shifted a lot since my beginning of my relationship with Mary. I
Yeah.
used to see her as the divine feminine, and I don't anymore, and I'm going to explain why.
Ooh.
I had an interesting conversation with my brother who is much more theological. He is very devoutly Catholic as well, but left the institution. Like, he was in seminary, going to take vows to become a monk, but ended up leaving for his own personal reasons. But he's the one I turned to for deep theological discussions as someone that was in seminary. And he had said something, and at first I had to recognize the resistance that was coming up in me regarding it, and like regarding Mary as not divine but human. And she wasn't divine. She was a human who lived a human life, who gave birth to divinity. And the reason I find even more inspiration in that is that God chose a woman, a regular old person, human woman, to carry the creator, to carry the divine. And that just, to me, shows how any of us, woman or womb bearing or otherwise, can carry the divine within us and give birth to it. Because I don't believe that you have to have a uterus or a womb to spiritually give birth in this sense, or even to physically give birth, but that's diving into something else. But yeah, where I used to see Mary as the archetype and even as the divine feminine herself, I now see her and can understand why others may refer to her as Saint Mary, because she was human. Just like all the other saints that lived were human, but they were able to tap into and become one with and embody that divine energy. And if other humans can do that, why can't we? Because sometimes I feel like we can get so lost, or I'm generalizing, but I feel like I can get lost in looking to divinity and gods and goddesses, but finding it difficult to relate because they are gods and goddesses. Whereas Mary was a human. I'm, for the most part, I think, human, and and
That's up for
to
debate.
that's up for debate, and I think for you too. Uh, but
Definitely.
100%. But yeah, just seeing Mary as human and recognizing her as such just makes her. I'm sorry, one second. Sorry, my partner's dog was like just excitedly tip tapping her claws on the floor,
I
making
know,
so
I heard
much
it was really
noise.
cute.
Where did I leave off? Viewing Mary as human and in her humanity has served to be so much more inspiring to me than trying to view her as some divine figure, because it almost felt like there was a distance being created, or I was creating a distance between me and Mary. Whereas when I start seeing her as human, just as human as I am, and experiencing the full range of humans and the life of humanity, um, it I felt an even deeper sense of connection. Um, yeah, that's all. Just that theological switch.
Well, I mean, just to put it into words, Mary wasn't the miracle. She was the vessel of the miracle.
Mm.
So Mary is the vessel to all of our miracles. You know, she brings the miracles to us. She is the vessel to the miracles that are my friends. She is the vessel of the miracles that is my queerness. She is the vessel of the miracles that is my magic. She is the bearer of a miracle. So if you want to actually take your theology and saying that she bore divinity, she bore the miracle, right? She was the bearer of the miracle, so she is the vessel. So act accordingly. Treat her as if she was carrying everything that you needed and she's waiting to give it to you.
Yep.
Everything that you find as miraculous, she's always been carrying it and she's waiting for you to take it.
Ooh, actually, you bringing this up just made me realize another point that I really wanted to bring in and almost forgot, is that my relationship with Mary has also transformed in the way that I use her. I'm sorry, I don't like saying I use Mary. I'm not going to dive into that discussion as to why, but I love working and devoting myself to Mary because for me, she is the gateway to the miraculous, as you were saying, Voga, that she's the vessel, she contains it all and is the gateway to it all. So I feel so much more comfortable trying to engage in relationships with other spirits like angels and archangels or saints or whatever it may be, whether it's in the Catholic pantheon or otherwise, because Mary helps to intercede and bring those things to me versus me trying to engage one-on-one with those other things, which is totally plausible and valid if that's what someone seeks to do. But knowing that Mary is a gateway, and what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I can discern for myself, but knowing that there's an extra layer of discernment through my mother figure spirit that is the Virgin Mary to help me figure out what it is that I need and then help act as the gateway to those things, again, saints, angels, and otherwise, is really great. And I firmly and highly recommend that anyone who wants to work with saints or angels or anything particularly within like the Catholic Christian pantheon of spirits and energies, to work with Mary as a gateway to those things. Because one, building a relationship with Mary is extremely simple. I'm struggling to think of situations in which that might not be the case, but for the most part, building a relationship with her is simple because she's just waiting there for you to ask for help. And then because Mary is Queen of Earth, Queen of Heaven, Empress of Hell, Queen of all the archangels and angels, Queen of all the saints, she can help you guide you. Sorry. She can help guide you to each and every one of those things. And I've mentioned this before, and probably in that prior episode of Mary Devotion, that who's going to say no to Mama? Like, if you're asking Mary for help to then interact with an angel or saint, maybe they might be reluctant, but like, or maybe they just might not show up as prominently if they like actually want to help you versus not wanting to help you. But Mary will help you. And if Mary determines that one of those saints or angelic figures or beings is not meant for you, more often than not, she's going to help guide you to the source that is going to be of help and service to you.
Absolutely. Yep. I mean, we're thinking of Mary as like this, like I said, this bringer of miracles, like not the actual miracle worker, but the bringer of those things, kind of giving you the tools that you need, and then you make those things happen. Think of like a chalice. That is also a vessel of miracles, depending on how you see it. You know, a vase. You know, especially because she was filling up a jug of water, right? When she right? She was filling up a jug of water when it was announced to her that she was having Christ's baby. Or she was having Christ.
Christ baby. I recall that she was in the middle of reading scripture when Gabriel appeared to her, but I don't
she
know.
was filling up a jug of water.
This is something for us to look into, and this just goes to show y'all that we don't always have all the answers, and if we don't,
I actually know nothing. I know nothing. So
she really doesn't. Don't go to her for anything. But But we humbly want to let you know that we don't always have the answers, and if we don't, we're gonna, one, acknowledge that, and two, we're gonna do our best to find the fucking source and find that answer.
Well, and also it's folklore, so it's like, okay, so we talk about the folklore that is in the Bible. It was a big game of telephone for a long time, so maybe both stories are true. I don't know. Also, doesn't matter. It matters really based on the practitioner, which story that you like the most, then go with
Exactly.
it. Whatever.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was wonderful. I really I loved revisiting our we haven't really focused on Mary in a very long time.
We really haven't.
So I love that was the center of the conversation, because she is a really big part of my life. She's arguably the center of mine. So yeah.
I resonate with that. Yeah, her and La Santa Muerte, because again, referring back to that metaphor of a continuum, Mary birthed life if we see Christ as the creator of life, and then the way to that is through our physical death to allow spiritual rebirth and reunification with the divine. And La Santa Muerte being the most holy death and being the act of death itself, to me, in my belief system, is what is going to bring me to the afterlife and bring me to reunification with the divine. So for me, I find it hard to believe that I can even have La Santa Muerte without Mary, or Mary without La Santa Muerte.
Yep. Sounds about right. All right, Rye. Anything else before we cap off this episode?
Just wanting to reiterate for our listeners that, I mean, by the time this episode comes out, I'm sure I'll already be halfway through, I think, the 40 days of devotionals of Queer's the Word. But I highly recommend that if you want to hear my personal reflections as I go on this 40-day devotional journey and sharing my reflections to the journal prompts within Queer's the Word and queering scripture and seeing it through a queer lens, I highly suggest you join our Patreon. To get access to the bonus episodes on Patreon, you have to be one of two tiers. The lowest tier does not get access to the bonus episodes, but the other two tiers do. And starting for as low as $10 a month, I think our middle tier is, you'll have access to our early access episodes as well as all bonus episodes that Voga and I release whenever we release them. And so with this 40-day devotional, that's already 40-ish bonus episodes that are going to come out, and most of them are going to be my reflections. We may have some where Voga and I are both sharing reflections, but if you want access to those, go ahead and support our Patreon.
Yeah, support the Patreon. And the post show is so fun, you guys. If you all want to see just an extra 30 minutes of Ride and I just kikiing, I love the post show. I think that was a really cool thing that we added into the. It's just another just more time for us to talk. Post show is really fun. So if you do want access to the post show, it is the $10 tier or the higher tier. Bonus episodes, I'm still thinking the bonus episodes are bonus episodes that we individually want to produce. Obviously we might have episodes where we produce them together. I have some ideas of things that I want to produce. I want to explore the lore of what's in the Bible. I want to kind of dissect stories in the Bible and kind of talk about those things and how I see them. I want to start with the myth or the story or the lore of Adam and Eve, and how y'all the lore of Adam and Eve is wild. It is absolute. There are aliens and extraterrestrial and planets, and it's advanced civilizations. It's fucking crazy.
Girl, I'm gonna call the History Channel to pick your ass up and take you back to ancient aliens.
You know what? I've been clocked. You weren't supposed to say anything.
TikTok, bitch.
You weren't supposed to say anything. Anyways, so yeah, bonus episodes coming for the second season of the Red Text is something we're really focusing on, making content for the Patreon. So, and we're really trying to push folks to really consume what we have to create on the Patreon. We're very excited for things that we're going to be making. So please, if you are inclined, join the coven. We're fun.
Please join our coven. Saints and sinners, all sides of the spectrum, are
Everyone.
welcome at our unholy communions.
Yes, absolutely. Well, with that said, my name is Voga, and I am Voga Lumicente.
And I'm Rai, aka the Mestizo Mystic.
And we will see you at our next Unholy Communion.